This is the Tech Support Guy Show, episode 53 for March 11th, 2012. Google-sponsored zombie apocalypse. Welcome to the Tech Support Guy Show. I'm Mike Cermak, known on the site as TechGuy, and with me today is Brian Hansen.
Hello, I'm not even sure there's a show going on. The freaking thing is not working.
Is there really a thing not working, or are you just an old man?
TechGuyNews.com is not giving me access to Ustream's thing.
Well,
TechGuy TV.
Well, both of them go the same place. I did block your IP address so that you couldn't see any of my websites, but...
Thanks, man.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm looking at it right now.
I'm looking at it as well.
Yeah, maybe it just blocks New Jersey.
It's just so weird, I don't know.
It's so weird.
And the other voice there, of course, is Daniel McCarthy. How are you doing, Dan?
I am Neato Nifty Keen. How are you?
Glad to hear that. Unfortunately, Dan comes to us from the world of Linux, where apparently video on Skype doesn't work.
Hush you.
At least that's what I'm going to blame it on, just to give him a hard time. So
wait a minute. I just want to point out that Macs apparently aren't working for Brian on the Tech Guy TV thing.
Oh, that's a good point. Are you using a Mac, Brian?
Yeah, man.
Oh, man. So we've got Mac, PC, and Linux going on here?
Yep.
That's pretty...
and only one of them is working. And it's
well, that goes without saying. Obviously,
let's not publish this. Let's not make that well known that...
You know, Heather came home from school.
Working.
Heather came home from school the other day. She's a teacher, for those who don't know, and one of her other teachers, who's one of the tech coordinators there, was explaining to her why Macs are so much better than PCs. And one of the points, get this, Brian, and I can't wait to hear if you try to defend this. One of her points is that they're much cheaper than PCs.
I get jokes.
No.
Like
maybe over the lifetime of the thing, because you buy it and then you really don't have to buy a whole lot else.
Right. And you can make the argument that it's much less likely to get viruses, and I agree with that. And you can even make an argument as far as that goes in terms of cost over the total ownership,
right.
Because you don't have to pay to have someone remove viruses or whatever.
Right.
That I might even get. But she's saying that for the same hardware, you can get a cheaper Mac than you can a PC, and I think she's smoking something.
Yeah, I think she's smoking something.
Like, there's a lot of arguments for Macs, don't get me wrong, but that's just not one of them.
Maybe she's never been to a Best Buy or a Walmart.
Maybe they're talking about like a Hackintosh, not really a Mac.
Or do they still exist? I thought Apple pretty well shut those down.
Negative.
Oh.
They still exist.
Well, before we get shut down, why don't we do this damn show?
I thought we were. Is that not one of our news stories, the Hackintosh and the... All right.
Yeah, there's something Apple in there.
So
poison, though.
Let's hit this up. Speaking of Apple, the first thing we want to talk about is the iPad 3.
No, the new iPad.
So everyone expected, in all of the rumors, everyone was calling it the iPad 3.
Correct.
And surprisingly, at least to me, in the big unveiling, they specifically did not call it the iPad 3. Nowhere did they mention the iPad 3. Nowhere on the website does it say iPad 3. It's not called the iPad 3, nor is it called the iPad HD, as some people speculated, nor is it called the iPad 2S, as some people speculated. It's the new iPad.
The new iPad.
Steve Jobs is rolling over in his grave.
Do you think so?
I don't think he cares.
No, I bet you he does, because that is one thing that Apple has excelled at, marketing.
Well, is this good
iPad?
Marketing or is this bad marketing?
This is shite.
Is it better or worse?
So in 5 years, whenever I'm buying the iPad 4, I'll be like, oh, I got the iPad 4. It's much better than the new iPad.
Right, exactly.
Fair enough.
It's so stupid.
It's on a scale of 1 to 10, it's pretty stupid.
Yeah, all right. I don't know. I mean, it's not. Well, let's talk about it. Right? It has the full Retina display that the iPhone 4 was the first creation of, but it takes up the whole friggin' screen. but it's basically the same battery life. The screen, though, is 3.1 million pixels, which I think they were saying is the most in any mobile device ever.
I believe
which
it.
means the graphics processor is souped up, and
It's
obviously
actually a
everything else.
quad-core graphic processor.
Yeah. I don't know what that means, but it sounds pretty cool. I just would call it the new graphics processor. But other than that, I'm kind of out of new features. So it's not a revolutionary or even evolutionary step for the iPad, right?
You don't think it's evolutionary?
No, not really.
Clearly, Apple has not marketed this well to you.
Clearly not. But I also didn't watch the event, and so I don't know much about it.
No, you've pretty much summarized the changes. I was talking on the Computer America show about this, and Craig asked me, who Dan knows, asked me, are you going to run out and get one? I said, no, I've got the iPad 2, and this does seem, evolutionary to me, but very small step. And it, as you said, it's got a sharper screen. That's whatever. It's got the better camera on it, which is 5 megapixel. It's very similar to what you have in iPhone 4 now. Mm-hmm. But that's, I don't take too many pictures with my iPad. And and then it also has the 4G radio in it, so you can get faster internet connections if you're in one of 4 cities. So it really doesn't do much for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. And it doesn't mean I'm not going to go out and get one. I kind of feel like this is to get all of us iPad 1 users onto the new iPad.
Gotcha. All the people who were holding off on buying the iPad 2 because you knew the iPad 3 would be coming out.
Right.
Because it's not that big of an evolutionary step, why not go out and buy an iPad 2 since they're now cheaper?
Well, that's true. But how much cheaper are they? I mean,
$100. $100 for the same equivalent unit.
$100 cheaper, you mean? Now, if you look on eBay or some of those for folks like me who might be selling up my iPad 2 to get the iPad 3, I'm not, but certainly there's many people who would. I suspect in the next week or two you'd be able to get them relatively cheap. I think that there would be a, a
purge.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, that's good call.
I don't know, Brian. Would you consider yourself an Apple fanboy?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm a positive contributor to the Apple community, but I am not an Apple fanboy, and nope.
So what kind of reception is the iPad 3 going to get? Because if it's kind of like an apathetic reception, is there going to be a mass purge of iPad 2?
But here's what I think. This one might do. It might actually, with a 4G LTE, if it's truly going to be a global network, then this is really the only tablet that's going to work globally, at least right now, right?
In 4 cities.
In the U.S., right? But
right.
4G,
yeah.
And you don't have to buy. I don't think you have to buy either an AT&T one or a Verizon one.
That's correct.
So this to me feels like it's actually a kind of a jet setter play or a business crowd play a little bit.
Yeah, if you're traveling internationally, then this is your only choice. But that seems like a small market.
Agreed.
Well,
relatively speaking, compared to iPad users in general, the segment that is international travelers who want to have cellular on the go.
Yeah, well, maybe for the U.S. folks, but I think a lot of the folks that don't live in this country spend a lot of time in.
Wait, there's other countries?
I mean, the 4G LTE is a global endeavor for a reason, right? Because all of the rest of the world recognizes that people want to hop in between countries and not have to worry about mobile connections. Mm-hmm. So in any case, it's probably a niche market, yes, but this is also not a giant. They didn't market this as a giant redesign or a giant evolutionary step in the iPad life cycle.
What would they have to do for us to have been really impressed with it?
quad-core processor itself would have been impressive.
Do you need that much processing power on an iPad? I mean, my iPad 2 is slower than the new one, but I don't notice it.
Well, I guess that as tablets are being touted as laptop replacements, yeah, you need that kind of power.
Yeah.
You do. You need that kind of power. Like, look at the Asus Transformer Prime. Like, that is a tablet, but it's called the Transformer for a reason. You can plug in a keyboard, and it operates as a laptop, a 10-inch laptop, mind you, but still a laptop.
And you can get keyboards for the iPad.
Exactly. So, yes, my point is, if you're going to turn it into a full computing device, then you need full computing power.
Well, so this one, on that note, right, the ability to edit movies is new to the iPad, the new iPad.
Yeah.
You can now actually record music.
Yep.
And, you can actually edit your iPhotos.
Right. And
Whereas
that is
right now
impressive.
it's just kind of a dumb
Did you see
display
the
for
demo
iPhone.
of editing photos using iPhoto?
I'm sorry?
Did you see the demo of iPhoto?
No, I did not.
That is impressive. It's worth watching. It's pretty nice. I'm gonna try and find it here to be able to put on the on our video. But so what they're doing here is they're trying to make the device more of a device, like Dan's saying, more of a real computing device that you can do. You can make stuff on. You don't just read information on it. You don't just surf the web on it. You don't just check email, but actually a full computing device where you can actually generate content as well.
Right.
That's kind of different.
Yeah, I think that's a good phrase, Mikey. Generating content. That we've talked about the iPads before as being a way to carry around your content and consume it. This kind of for the first time, you can actually kind of create and post and edit along the way, which is definitely a bigger market than those that want to travel internationally with 4G LTE.
And that's been a big downside for the iPad in the past, is that it's been really good at reading content and receiving content, but not so much at generating.
Correct.
Which paying $500-600 for a device that can read content is a little absurd.
Right.
Correct. But if you're looking at, geez, should I buy a laptop or should I buy an iPad? If you buy a PC version of a laptop, the price points are comparable to the iPad's price points, right? But if you were going to get into the Mac walled garden, this is the lowest point of entry that you can find. And guess what? It does almost everything that you might want to do with a MacBook Air for like $1,000 less, at least.
Yeah. And ultra portable, and it gives you more flexibility in terms of, do you want to use it as a laptop or do you want to use it as a tablet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find the demo that I saw.
If you click on Apple's website, go to iPad.
I'm actually on a 10-minute demo of iPhoto right now, and I can't find. There's some neat stuff though that you can see. Like here, let me put this up on the stream. I know you guys probably won't be able to see it, but the folks watching this recording will. But they're showing a bunch of the different options. Now, the cool thing with the iPhoto program on the iPad is they didn't just add, crop and manage the photos and stuff like that, which is there, but also a lot of advanced techniques, being able to lighten and adjust contrast, and even doing so just in a small part of the picture, which is what he's demonstrating right now, just lightening up this woman's face.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it really is. And one of the demos I saw, and what I was trying to find, was adjusting the blueness of the sky. And you could really just tap and hold down on the sky and adjust how blue it was. Like, it was very intuitive. It almost reminded me of something out of a futuristic movie where you'd watch it and you'd be like, well, you can't do that. It's not that simple. That's just stupid. You obviously have to select what area is the sky first, and then you have to adjust it. And then it's just not point,
Right.
And it's like when you watch CSI and it's like, enhanced video. And you're like, well, you can't do that.
Enhanced.
But they are. And it's kind of, that's impressive.
It is impressive. So am I jumping up and down, and can I not wait until this week when it comes out? No. But are there some really cool things that are new to this one that didn't exist before? Yeah. Am I going to go buy one? maybe if if I get a really good report card or something, I'll go get one. But otherwise, I don't really deserve to spend another several $100s on a new iPad.
I hear. What about you, Dan? You running out to buy one?
No.
Dan, do you own any Apple products?
No.
Yeah. Do you own any tablets?
Yes.
Oh, what do you own?
I have a Kindle Fire in the house, and I have one of the earliest Asus attempts, which was the EEPC, that was a tablet and netbook in one.
Mm.
Screen rotates and flips down, and you go into tablet mode.
What do you think about the Kindle Fire? I assume you played around with the iPad. How would you compare it to a Kindle Fire?
I would say that the hardware is most definitely superior in the Apple.
Okay.
But my wife does the same thing on her Fire that any Apple user does, and does it without complaint, and does it with enjoyment.
Okay.
And for $300 to $400 less.
Yeah.
So is your biggest complaint about it being the cost?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. My biggest complaint, well, that, and I don't buy things because of marketing and aesthetics.
Oh, that's kind of the American way, though. Are you not American?
No, I am not American.
Oh.
Yeah, definitely not. I'm Norwegian.
That was my next guess.
Yeah. Utility is what matters to me. Like, I don't buy into smaller size either. I walk around with a 17-inch laptop that is heavy as hell, that is durable, that has all the computing power I could ever want or need. It's a desktop replacement laptop. So
you're a survivalist.
Yeah, size doesn't matter. No, I'm not a survivalist. I'm a utilitarian. There you go.
All right. Fair enough. You're not making your own clothes, though, right?
No. My wife does that.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Joke if you will, but you'll be going naked when the apocalypse happens.
Happily.
There's
finally have a good excuse.
There's a survivalist group that I gotta find it. Is it Zombie something? Survivalist. It would have been funnier if I had known the name right off of my. I think it's Zombie.
I think you're stretching how funny it was.
Zombie. You're the comedian here. I don't have to worry about it.
Oh, okay.
Hang on here. I'm actually going to look it up and find it because I found it interesting. It's this group that teaches first aid and CPR and survival skills and stuff like that under the guise of Zombie Squad is what it's called. Zombie Squad.
You've seen this on like the History Channel or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's but it's a nationwide. They've got different chapters all around, and it's pretty funny. Wiki Zombie Squad. So here, so the Wikipedia page reads here. It says that Zombie Squad is a community service and disaster preparedness organization that uses the metaphor of a zombie apocalypse for any natural or man-made disaster, such as hurricane, terrorism, earthquake, etc. Zombie Squad was created by the horror film fans who combined their shared interest of zombies and experience with the disaster preparedness. It describes itself as a, quote, elite zombie suppression task force ready to defend your neighborhood from the shambling hordes of the Walking Dead.
Isn't it great that technology enables the connection of all of these freaks? They're just like, oh, I'm really weird and I have this weird thing growing out of my neck. Oh, let's find a community of other neck growth people. That's great. Not that there's anything wrong with having a neck growth.
I think that's exactly what you're saying. I think you're comparing them to zombies.
It did kind of sound like it.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Screw you guys.
Anyhow, I thought that was a pretty funny way to do it. So, moving on. We got nothing else to say about the iPad 3.
Blah.
A new iPad.
Thank you. And right on cue. So, what story do you guys want to hit up next? We've got a couple others we were talking about.
Your choice.
Anonymous hackers take down the Vatican site.
Woo!
Yeah, let me bring up this story. So the anonymous hackers, supposedly, and I don't understand how they take credit for taking down sites if they're just an unconnected group of hackers. But whatever. And I don't fully understand why they chose the Vatican site. But the main website of the Vatican was inaccessible Wednesday after what appears to have been an attack by malicious hackers claiming to be affiliated with the anonymous hacking collective. The Vatican could not be reached for comment. But there was a website claiming to be the official blog of the Anonymous in Italy posted a message taking credit for the attack. It said that it was taken down to protest church doctrine and molestation of children by clergy members. So I'm not sure how taking down their website for a couple hours accomplished much in terms of that, because we all didn't know already about the child molestation problems within the Catholic Church. But now that the website's been taken down for a few hours, it's been brought to light. And I don't get it, but
I don't get it either. I don't get how they're so impressed with themselves for taking down websites in general. It's not there. There's no sophistication in it. You basically fish for vulnerabilities that are that they're made aware of by other smarter people.
Well, and it really, if you have control of enough computers and enough infected computers,
yeah,
right. Yeah.
There's nothing sophisticated about it. Now, Mike, beware. You might become a target now.
I know, right? It's exactly what's going to happen. Anonymous is going to take down TechGuy, and again, I'll just scratch my head and I'll say, what were they trying to prove?
Why? Right.
It's just. I don't get. Yes, they can. I'll tell them right now. I have 100% certainty of their capability of taking down the TechGuy website. We've got some nice firewalls in there. We haven't been taken down by a hack in probably 4 or 5 years now, but I have no doubt that they can do it. If you have enough machines, enough zombie machines, to go back to our zombie metaphor, I like that. They can. You send enough of them at a server at one time, and it's not going to be able to handle it. And especially if they're coming from completely different IP addresses and completely different types of requests, it can be done.
What in the hell? Why?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Why would you do it?
I mean, go you. I was more impressed that they were able to get information via email about an FBI conference call. That was funny. That cracked me up. They sat in on an FBI conference call about an investigation about them. That was great.
That is kind of funny.
And
that is I can see why they would want to do that. Not that they should, but I could see that they would want to find out what the FBI is talking about in terms of them.
I think it's even funnier that the FBI is not sophisticated enough to realize this.
Yeah. The watchmen don't know that they're being watched by the people they're watching.
Right.
It's funny.
Big brother is watching, but he's got double vision or something.
Yeah.
Little brother is watching Big Brother.
There you go.
All right.
Hooray, Anonymous.
All right.
Hooray Anonymous.
All right,
great job on being really timely with your website takedowns for political reasons. That's good.
You watch out. Next year, they're going to take down Sarah Palin's website. Now they're totally going to take down TechGuy. That wasn't funny.
Don't count the grizzly out. I hear she's on a campaign to actually have a second presidential election in 2013.
No way. Nope, not going to happen. So anyhow, moving right along, out of politics. So Dan will be happy to hear. I read this headline, thought of Dan immediately from our other podcast. Raspberry Pi buying frenzy crashes website.
Woot! So the Raspberry Pi is now in mass production.
And a quick reminder for those who may have missed the other episode, Raspberry Pi is not an actual Pi, but disappointingly a computer.
I'm sure you could find some Raspberry Pi.
I've been looking for a while.
Check your local grocer baker.
The problem is they want money. So
I've got nothing on that.
You see?
Nothing witty.
Maybe Anonymous can hook me up there.
Ooh.
So Raspberry Pi is actually a very small computing device, which runs some old version, some old computing environment called Linux.
Oh gosh, that was harsh. No, it's running actually. The official Fedora remix for the Raspberry Pi has been released.
Wait, Fedora isn't Linux?
Yes, Fedora is Linux.
Okay,
it's a distribution of Linux. Did you not read my article on what is Linux in the TechGuy newsletter?
I did actually. Thank you. That was well written too.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So you know that Fedora is a distribution of Linux.
In addition to a hat. And Raspberry Pi, in addition to being a Pi, is a computing device. It's very confusing in the Linux world.
It has full HDMI 1080p output. which is pretty awesome for such a inexpensive computing device. For those who don't know, it is $25 and $35 respectively. I believe the $35 version comes with a LAN connection.
And the other one's just Wi-Fi?
Yes. Yes. No onboard storage, but it's pretty awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
So their website was also powered by one of these low-powered...
Oh, gosh, that was harsh, Mikey. Why do you hate on the Raspberry Pi? Is it because you got no Raspberry Pi when you were a kid, did you?
Or is it just that Anonymous took down their website?
It was probably Anonymous.
Yeah, that's what I was figuring.
They hate freedom. They're right up there. They're right up there with George Bush. Why do you hate freedom? I'm sorry. Okay. Raspberry Pi, I think they were self-hosted, so they expanded their servers. I believe it's this weekend, if I remember reading my Twitter feeds correctly. They're upgrading their servers this weekend to handle all of those orders. They've seen remarkable numbers in the orders. As far as things like this go, hold on just a second, and maybe I can give you some numbers.
Speaking of numbers, the only thing I've learned during this segment is that my head is 23 3/4 inches around.
Did you really measure
I measured it? You can check the video feed.
I saw you doing something back there, but I couldn't quite figure out what it was from my little preview screen.
23 3/4.
That's pretty big. I wonder... Let's see here. See, the problem is with a tape measure that's actually made of metal, it's hard to get an accurate measurement, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, especially up to... Ow! I just took out my eye.
Good thing it didn't work.
It took me a second.
Clearly, you gentlemen care about Raspberry Pi.
So, I think that's exactly what we're saying.
All right, we're gonna skip over the numbers because you don't care. But
hang on. I got an important update here.
I'm going to.
I'm going to say 25 1/4.
What?
Off.
Yep.
That's a big noggin.
You know, it's actually very hard for me to find a hat that fits.
Yeah.
Seriously. That's part of the reason why you never see me wearing a hat. It's also very hard to measure with metal. I need one of those proper... Oh, you know what? Hang on.
All right, really. Let's move on.
Have we gone off topic a little bit?
A little bit. Reel it back in there.
I've got exactly the right tool for head measuring. Look at this. This is going to be super accurate. I'm serious. Look at that. That is designed...
It doesn't matter, Mikey.
...for head measuring and... Oh, actually, it's coming out at 24 inches on this one. The metal added an extra inch. So...
That's what she said.
But that's... All right. So Raspberry Pi is going to be for sale. All right.
Yeah.
It is for sale. Jeez.
Dan hates us forever now. Moving on. All right. So Raspberry Pi broke some cool records. They're actually selling them. They're going to be shipping soon. Did they sell more than the iPad 3?
No, they did not.
Brian, where were you on that? I said iPad 3.
I was still sleeping because we were
wait. Here, can you do it again?
The new iPad.
Blah.
Blah.
I get a blah from Dan and a correction from Brian. All right, Dan. How about Chrome here? So I understand they have had some security issues.
They actually the Google team. Gosh. All right, we're going to try that again. The Google team has created a contest to find vulnerabilities in Chromium browsers, specifically for the Windows 7 platform, and there are tiered prizes for finding an exploit. Let's see. The top tier is $60,000. The next one is, and I'm not prepared, so
$60,000 for finding a next one I think is 20,000 or 40,000 and 20,000.
Yeah.
But $60,000 for finding a bug in a program is pretty sweet.
Yeah. And so today, as I understand it, there have been two $60,000 prizes. One to a guy named Sergi and another one to a guy named Pinkie Pie.
Do they really make the check out to that?
I'm not sure about that.
So the $60,000 prizes are given to those who can obtain, quote, Chrome/Windows 7 local OS user account persistence using only bugs in Chrome itself.
Right.
And a $40,000 prize is awarded to individuals that can target Chrome with one of its own bugs, plus others found in the operating system. And the $20,000 reward is to those who can find issues without using bugs in Chrome.
Yep.
So 2 people found a way to get local user account access using only Chrome and bugs in Chrome.
That's correct.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could even begin to do that.
I think what's also impressive is that Google patched Chrome within 24 hours of having been notified.
That's very good. But of course, they were ready for it. They had guys sitting there waiting to see who's going to win this competition.
They did. So it was part of a conference, and they did this. The Google security team was basically on call, if you will, to validate the bugs and patch them as necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think it's really cool that they are they're sponsoring something like that. They're being a lot more open than, say, Microsoft is. Everyone knows that Microsoft in the past with IE has been very closed about the security holes that happen and slow in responding.
Yeah. Well, and I've seen some groups who find bugs in it, report it to Microsoft, and they say, yeah, we'll look at it. And then a month later, the group will announce it publicly and say, well, Microsoft doesn't do anything about it, so we thought we might as well tell everyone about it.
Right.
Because the bad guys already know about it, so...
And to Microsoft's defense, Google is not going to publish the details of the exploits until other BrowserKit-based or WebKit-based browsers have the chance to patch.
Sure, that makes sense. Well, I don't... Do they need to post the details of it ever?
I don't know if they need to, but I think they will, because they want to give these 2 gentlemen a wider recognition for what they've done. They consider these exploits works of art.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a...
And they want to give these gentlemen the proper recognition for what they've done.
It's a little bit of a stretch to consider it a work of art, I think. Now, this is a work of art. What is this pink thing doing? I don't even know what it is.
I think what you're supposed to be seeing is a computer hacker. There is that pink pony thing is going to be hacking your computer.
Is that what she's doing?
Yes.
Huh. Interesting.
You're not interested in that at all.
I'm more interested in this than Raspberry Pi.
I don't even know how to talk to you.
Brian, are you interested in pink ponies?
The animals, yes.
Oh, that was dangerously yellow.
I'm a yellow guy.
I'm not gonna run with that one, Brian. I could, but I'm not going to.
You're the one talking about some lady named Pink Pie. I mean, come on. That's almost like X-rated.
I think it was Raspberry Pi.
It was Raspberry Pi and Pinkie Pie. He's right.
Pinkie Pie. I missed that.
Yeah, Pinkie Pie. Come on. That's totally sexual.
Do we know it's even a guy? Maybe Pinkie Pie is...
It is not my screen name. We do know it is a guy. It is a teenage hacker who has identified himself only as Pinkie Pie.
Uh-huh. Probably because he's done some other hacking that maybe he doesn't get the award for.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing. Sorry, Pinkie.
So,
please don't take down my site with Anonymous.
Right. So Google is giving other WebKit browsers the chance to make the same patches.
Sure.
WebKit, for those who aren't in the know, runs a lot of browsers, specifically Safari. It is the core behind Safari, or was at least. It is the core behind Android-based browsers, and I believe iPhone-based browsers. So the iPhone built-in browser is WebKit-based as well.
Mm-hmm. And WebKit is by Google.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
No.
So
WebKit, I believe, was originally part of Conqueror, which is a Linux-based browser, and
I remember
Apple
Conqueror.
What?
I remember Conqueror.
With the K?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a Linux-based browser that Apple used as a basis for Safari when Apple, if I remember correctly, went FreeBSD-like.
OS 10.
Yeah. Yep.
So riddle me this. Why does Google think that it's worth $60,000 per bug to have somebody find them in their WebKit?
Because it values security.
Okay.
As opposed to people finding them and abusing them, and then they discover it later.
Right. So, I mean, other than PR, I don't think that there's any liability by Google if they release a browser that has a security exploit where someone can get hacked, so on. But
Right.
there's definitely a stigma associated with a browser that allows users to be hacked. Internet Explorer specifically is suffering from this. They have lost market share specifically
Right.
because the browser sucked.
Mm-hmm. That's part of the reason why Chrome exists.
Right. And Firefox, you know.
Right. So in my head, they're gonna say, okay, we developed the most secure browser ever. We held this own-a-thon or whatever hackathon for the WebKit, and they found all the possible bugs, and now we're impenetrable. Doesn't that
They're
just
not going
paint?
to ever say something that arrogant.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
well,
sorry.
they're
Then
gonna
Anonymous
charge
is going to
more.
come along.
They're gonna charge more for whatever services they're providing.
I just want to point out again that Chrome is a free browser that you can download. And
Yeah, but you're talking about WebKit, which gets licensed by all of the other folks that you talk to, right? You talk to.
So, no, see, what you don't understand about WebKit is that it's an open source project. And that means it's free as in beer and as in speech.
Okay. Then,
I think I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say you're wrong.
okay. So I guess you said they value security. That's why they're paying $60,000 per bug.
Yes, I really think so.
From the capitalist mentality, where is that money going to come from? They're not selling any product based on Chrome. And they're not making any money based on Chrome. There's not ads in Chrome. Why do they make Chrome?
I honestly don't know why they started Chrome.
I think the game hasn't totally played itself out yet. I think there's another one of the chess pieces in this whole idea of free and open source. I'm just playing the cynic now, Dan, which is a role I know you're familiar with. I think there's another shoe that's going to fall in this whole open source software game.
All the cards aren't out on the table. I had to throw
a piece is going to move,
metaphor.
And all of a sudden, there's no way to use any of the open source software unless you pay for it. That's my
I don't
guess.
think so. I think you're mistaken.
I just want to point out that open source software has been around for years. The GNU project specifically, which was founded by Stallman, has been around before Linux itself, which was introduced in 1991. So
no, open source isn't going anywhere.
That's absurd, Brian. To think that open source is a game to get people to get free stuff and then do the switcheroo and charge them.
All right, so not the whole movement of open source. That's probably too far. Google, probably.
All right, so let me explain a little bit of something about open source. So once a project is open source, that means that code is freely available and under a license that makes it freely available to everyone else. So once it's made freely available, it can continue to be made freely available by anyone.
Right.
Yep.
But not necessarily future versions of it. If they decide to do closed source in the
not
future.
future versions, but you've got the code right now. So
I don't think that's what's going to
code.
happen. I think what will happen, Google obviously has some reason they did Chrome and that they're spending all this money to make it secure and so on. And I don't think it's so that they can charge for Chrome, because who the hell pays for a browser anymore? Netscape learned that back in the day when Internet Explorer was competing for free. But I think that they've got something else up their sleeve with it, and as far as using it for location awareness for Google applications and for better advertisers. That makes their money by ads, not by selling products. So they're going to use it in some way to better, provide better ads, more targeted ads, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think there's something. It's kind of Pollyanna-ish to assume that $60,000 per bug is never going to get paid back.
Not that $60,000 is much to Google.
Yeah, they have an excess of cash.
Yes, they do. But
in order to see their value go up, I mean, they have to be viewed especially as much as they have, as much content as they have, as much of the internet, if you will, that they own. they have to be seen as a secure company in order for their for people to continue to invest in them.
Okay.
Microsoft lost market share because of security.
Well, and the other thing that they're also buying here is media attention.
It's true.
That's
True.
worth the $60,000 right there.
Fair enough.
To have us talk about it, I mean, that's worth at least $1 of that 60. Maybe not. No, that's worth about. Can you divide? Do they have halfpennies still? Can you do that?
But
I don't think a penny is official currency any longer.
Is that true? That's not true.
that's not true.
No.
Although on an airplane, apparently all of those freaking rules and laws that govern currency go out the freaking window.
Yeah.
I don't understand. You can't use legal tender on an airplane. How is that legal? How is that legal?
I was at a parking garage recently, and they had a sign there that said that they won't accept more than 20 pennies. I was like, I don't know if they can do that. And I think I looked it up, and I think they can. I think that is actually
Interesting. Well, anyway, my point was they got to have, they're putting some sort of value on this. And when you said they were doing it because they care about security, why do they care about security? I just think that's part of the grander design we haven't uncovered yet.
Well, I think that why they're proponents of security is that there is liability if they release, all of your credit card information that you've stored in your Google Wallet or whatever. So I think security is in their best interest as far as any company that stores personal information.
Okay, so this demonstrates that a commitment to security above and beyond maybe that demonstrated by other companies. So when they get sued because they stole or they let my Google Wallet stuff get stolen, they can demonstrate in a court of law that they did all they possibly could.
I think that's certainly part of it, sure.
Mm.
I think that's much more likely than they have secret plans to take over Earth and all of its.
Well, I don't think it's
by
secret.
hardening or open source software.
It's
I
not
wasn't
secret.
claiming that they were going to be behind the zombie apocalypse. I'm just saying. There's a reason. I don't know that I don't think it's just out of the goodness of their hearts or that they like security.
Well, we know Google is not evil, right? That's their mantra.
Yes.
Dan reminds me all the time how Google is the most non-evil company.
See, I think that statement in itself is a reason why they would do it, just out of the kindness of their heart. They don't want to be seen as evil, and they've certainly been painted as such in the media very recently.
It's true. It's true. All right. So it's a big game for, and it may also be a talent recruitment event for them.
Sure.
That's an angle I hadn't
point.
considered.
That's a good point.
Spend $500,000 and you get the world's best.
Those are the
coders
people you
or
want on your
whatever
side.
in this security angle, all in a room together. One, you can hire them, or two, you can just find out who they are and start keeping track of them so that they aren't tempted to be evil later. It's very clever. It's very clever. Very clever. Anyway, good luck at the podium. Stop making words I can't pronounce. Like, that's not a word. Podium. Help.
And in case you're interested,
Wait a minute.
Oh.
iPad is a word?
No, it's a vowel in front of a word.
Oh, okay.
But there's no word in ponium. It's missing at least a vowel.
So, for those who are interested, the United States Code states that United States coins and currency, including Federal Reserve notes and circulating notes of the Federal Reserve banks and national banks, are legal tender for all debts, public charges, taxes, and dues. Foreign gold or silver coins are not legal tender for debts. However, in the words of the United States Treasury, this means that all United States money is valid and legal tender offer for payments or debts when tendered to the creditor. There is, however, no federal law mandating that a person or organization must accept currency or coins for payment for goods and or services. Which means that, and the example that Snopes gives here, I love Snopes, that if a shoemaker wants to sell his products for 8,000 jelly beans per pair, he's entitled to do so. The buyer cannot demand that he accept the equivalent value in legal tender instead. However, legal tender is the default method of payment assumed in contractual agreements. For example, if you agree to buy a car for $8,000, but when you begin your monthly payments, he rejects them and insists that he be paid in gold instead, you can go to court and da-da-da-da-da.
Got it. That's helpful. Thank you, Mikey. I was actually interested in that.
I see that you learned something today after all.
23 3/4 inches. You're 25 1/4.
Actually, no, I think I came out to 24 with the more accurate measurement.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you only got me by 1/4 inch. I was going to say, your noggin wasn't that much bigger than mine.
What are we talking about again?
Raspberry Pi.
Okay, good. Thought so.
Okay.
I think that's a wrap.
That's
All right, so our next show is going to be on Sunday, April 15th, which will be the third Sunday. We're gonna switch it up on you a little bit. Sunday, April 15th, again, 1 p.m. Eastern. Visit techguy.tv at that time to be able to get into the live stream if it happens to be working. Today, it kind of sort of is. We only had a couple people in and not our usual, so I suspect something didn't finalize correctly. We had some problems when we were getting started. But check it out then, techguy.tv. Also there, you will find the recordings of all of our previous episodes and links to anything we talk about, including Raspberry Pi. And actually, I'm even going to include this Snopes link in there. It's not tech-related, but it's of interest. And yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all I have to sell. Brian, how about you?
BrianMHansen.com. Brian M. Hansen on Twitter. Shower Sandwich on YouTube, though just consume all of the old episodes. I haven't put any new ones up there lately. That's it. I'm done.
Very good. And Daniel, you don't have
Linux
anything.
File. I don't have anything.
No, you don't.
Just
Don't even waste
Linux,
our time. You don't.
Linux File on Twitter and Linux File on the TechGuy forum.
Right. If you want to go and read about how Linux, operated 10 years ago when he last updated the site, then.
Yeah, that's funny.
No, I'm kidding.
I'm gonna update it with the article that I just wrote for TechGuy.
Excellent. And thank you very much for that. And if you want to see that, that's also in the Tech Support Guy newsletter. And also, we posted that in tech-related news. If you go to techguy.org and in the forums, under tech-related news, Danny's article there, all about Linux for those who aren't aware of it and want to learn more about it. Brian and I will be sure to study that article in depth before the next episode.
With as great a detail as you measured your heads.
And we expect next time you'll have your head measurement as well.
Yeah, get with the program.
Come on, Dan.
Yeah, I'm I'm behind. I'm sorry.
I appreciate you resisting all urges here to make this not PG. I think we've done very well. I'm impressed. All right, guys. Thank you very much. We will see you in a couple of weeks.
Adios.